Hi and welcome to my playhouse. And today we are outside, but we're gonna go in just a second. But we have an old friend that has returned, so he's in the back of the car. Oh yeah, it's very dirty. It has been absolutely awful weather. So in there, together with all the coke, we have the bargain hardware. Cloud server, Hewlett Packard Enterprise Cloud server. It's here somewhere. It's the CL3100 Generation 3, and it has been lent out for some time, and we're gonna talk about that. Here we are in the living room, inside. It's humongous. Oh, look at my Christmas decoration. Very nice. Yeah, this has been lent out. At the moment it's ice cold because outside is 1.3 degrees Celsius, my thermometer tells me. Inside it's nice and warm, so it's actually yeah, don't turn it on right away. It needs to climatize. But as it has been lent out, I just want to open up and see if everything is okay. Screw on the back. There, and then the cover comes off, I think. It might. It does. There we are. So, yeah, I like this server. It's an awesome form factor. Very, very cool server. So this is a storage server. As you can clearly see, there's a lot of spaces for hard drives in here. There's 8 here and there's additional 4 here. So inside of this 1U server, there's room for 12 3.5-inch hard drives. And that is why this has been lent out for a little bit. I actually lent this out to my workplace, who had, well, we had bought a very big machine, a machine that it cost $10 million plus, and this machine dumps a lot of data. And well, they purchased the machine, but they didn't really get the storage things in order. And when we needed to get the storage thing in order, the suppliers couldn't supply. I don't know, there was some sort of delays and some wait and stuff. So we were looking at having this big machine installed and had to wait for months for the storage of it before the machine could go into production, and that was not very cool. So it was being escalated at work, and we were gonna get ready to have to pump in a lot of money on fixing this to get whatever storage was available. And then I had a little chat with the people that needed this, and then it turned out their requirements wasn't really that outrageous, and it ended out that they just needed a server like this that they could fill up with. I believe they had 16 terabyte hard drives in this, and they ended up not having to use it because as the machine was being installed, well, that got delayed as well. Other thing turned up, and in the meanwhile we had the delivery of the real storage system for them. I was also involved in purchasing that became a Lenovo server, an SR650 version 2. I actually featured it on this channel. I was messing around with it with the disk trays, and so that was gonna replace this one. And the Lenovo SR650, that's a 2U server, and it has room for 12 3.5-inch hard drives in the front, and I showed that in a video. And as the drives came out of something else, I had to go and purchase empty trays for the SR650, which is not really widely available because Lenovo doesn't really sell empty trays for their servers. You usually always buy a drive for them. So yeah, this looked perfectly fine. So we could just, all the interesting stuff is on the other side here. All the rate controller and network connections. And I forget, there's some RAM in this. How much RAM do I have in this machine? This was a very nice gift from Bargain Hardware. Well, gift and gift. Oh, this is 4 GB blocks. We should upgrade this. We should upgrade this at some point. Oh, is this DDR3 or 4 RAM? That could be important. This is DDR4 RAM. Okay. So, might need to look into getting some of that. I don't know. I did a video on preparing this for being lent out, and I was actually pretty happy to get it out of my rack. Even though I love this form factor, it's so long that when it sticks out the back of my rack, I'm having real difficulties in the back of the rack messing with stuff. Which remind me, I think there was some hard drives in here. I hope they're still there. Isn't any hard drives in here now? I forget if there are hard drives in it. Might ask. But back to the story. They ended up not really having to use this for the project that they lent it for, because everything else was also kind of delayed a little bit. But this server did help. Nobody had to go and spend a lot of money to get something in the meanwhile, as I just lended them this machine, and I was told by the people that borrowed it that they could sleep a lot better at night knowing that they had this server. If the machine was suddenly ready to go into production, they could just roll this out and start up right away and don't have to do any excuses of why the IT part wasn't done yet. On top of that, I got a lot of cheap points when I told my boss that I had solved this problem by lending our clients this server from my personal collection. He thought that was a brilliant move, so I got a lot of goodwill as an added bonus on that one. So very cool to have my server back. And did you know that you're actually able to rent servers like this? If you need a server for like some amount of time, like this one, we might not really need it, just need it to have sitting around as a backup. So you can rent systems like that. You can rent brand new stuff if you need it for some amount of time, and then you send it back when you don't need it. Of course, it's more expensive than purchasing a system, but if you just need it for 14 days to do something like migrate over to something else, it might be a good idea to rent some servers for that period of time and then send it back, and then it doesn't matter that you have to pay a little bit of an overprice for the product in that 14 days. It's not gonna cost you the entire price of the product, server or storage or network unit. I know about this because back in 2020, I promoted a IBM storage NAS system, and IBM, they used a company called iRent from the Netherlands, iRent.nl. I am not being affiliated or in any way, shape or form getting anything out of this, but this company had the storage unit that I was gonna be showcasing in my video, and they shipped it to me, and then I did my videos, and then they picked it up again like 14 days, 3 weeks, I forget, later. And that meant that IBM didn't have to have any hardware laying around to lend to some weird guy from Denmark. They had this Dutch company who probably has a really good insurance thing, and they paid them to take all the risk and manage all the hardware. I'm sure it is expensive, but it's probably a lot cheaper than for IBM to have that unit sitting around doing nothing for years. After that, I've messed around with it. I could have done some weird settings and firmware upgraded, whatever, and that way they didn't have to mess with that. They had the iRent company to mess with that. So if you for some reason need to rent or borrow some equipment for some shorter amount of time, there is that option. So I think that's about it. Very short video here. But yeah, if you need to purchase some used equipment, it might be a good deal, because this one is from Bargain Hardware, and bargainhardware.co.uk from the United Kingdom. Well, if you need a server like this, you get 5% off of your purchase if you use the checkout code MyPlayHouse when you're buying this. And yes, that is an affiliate thing. So Bargain Hardware in the UK, I do highly recommend. Their service is great. So thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again, and have a really nice day. Bye bye.